fire chief of St. Martin says they have been putting the different things in place so that they could be prepared for the necessary weather that is coming. Councilman on Friends St. Martin says he is against any form of border closure. And Prime Minister of St. Martin gives update on storm number 9, Isaias. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, July the 28th, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Vaputin. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a packed newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, as of 11 a.m. today, July the 28th, 2020, Tropical Storm Isaias has formed. Prime Minister, the Honorable Sylvania Jacobs, who was joined by the Fire Chief and Disaster Coordinator of ESF4, Mr. Clive Richardson, and also head of the Meteorological Department on St. Martin, Mr. Joseph Isaacs. The Prime Minister, who is also chair of the EOC, gave an update in a national briefing to update the community about Tropical Storm Isaias.
Though the EOC has not been officially activated for this purpose, we did hold our first meeting pertaining to the developing weather conditions yesterday, whereby a press release was issued last evening. Due to the fact that at that time it had not yet developed into something that we could call a storm. It was still undefined. We were unable to issue any warnings or watches. But as of 11 a.m. today, a tropical storm warning has been issued for St. Martin, and I was notified just prior by Mr. Isaac of this development. Luckily, we'd already planned this briefing, as we knew that we would have to inform the general public at least 24 hours before any expected weather that would be negative or can have a negative impact on our society.
Head of the St. Martin Meteorological Office, Mr. Joseph Isaacs, announced the tropical update as potential storm 9 and said that the Met Office has been monitoring it for a while now. Mr. Isaacs gave the latest coordinates, and he advised the residents on the island to continue to monitor the situation, as he says he anticipates that it could form as a storm.
We have been monitoring this system for a while now and has been putting out messages indicating that there's an area of low pressure out in the Atlantic with potential for becoming a tropical storm. And while as we speak, it is just borderline in terms of becoming a tropical storm. It's not named yet, so we call it potential tropical storm 9, because there's a very strong confidence that it will become a tropical storm. And one of the reasons also that we have been putting out special bulletins on this system over the past couple of days is because we anticipated that it would form as a storm very close to the islands. At 11 today, we had the center located at 13.8 north and 53.7 degrees west, or about 690 miles east-southwest of St. Martin. The system is moving towards the west near 23 miles per hour, and on this forecast track, it is expected to move through our region on Wednesday. The maximum sustained winds are 40 miles per hour with a higher gust, and some strengthening is expected during the next 48 hours as the system is expected to become a tropical storm by tonight. Tropical storm force winds extend outwards up to 230 miles from the center, and that is primarily in the northeastern quadrant. The estimated minimal pressure is 1,007 millibars. Some of the significant things to note there is that while it doesn't have a defined close eye in that the area of low pressure is a wide area, the cloud extent from it is very wide, especially in the northeast quadrant, as far as 230 miles. Now, when we look at the different models we use, we look at the models for rainfall. It looks like most of the rainfall will be occurring during the day or through Thursday night. When we look at the wind models, we could see a deterioration in terms of increased wind speeds as we go on late into tonight. And also when we look at the models for the sea conditions, we think that the seas have already started to deteriorate. And as we move further into the day, into tonight, we will see a further deterioration of sea conditions. When we look at the combined models, most of the models would have the center of circulation just south of St. Martin. It being just south of St. Martin would basically put us in the northern section of the system if it doesn't go directly over us. And again, we would be speaking of a tropical storm. So basically what we're looking at is tropical storm conditions. When we look at the forecast intensity for the system, only 2 of the models would have it becoming a category 1 hurricane as it goes through the islands. So the confidence is very strong that it would remain as a tropical storm.
And in his national address, Fire Chief and Head of the NDC, ESF4, Mr. Clive Richardson, said that they have been putting the different things in place so that they could be prepared for the necessary weather that is coming. The Fire Chief advised the public to stay safe and to prepare for the upcoming weather.
We have been already since yesterday, as Prime Minister said, we had an EOC meeting, and we have been putting the different things in place so that we can be prepared for the necessary weather that is coming. Based on this, we would also like to inform the public, looking at the amount of rainfall that might possibly fall, to avoid certain areas like the Sekersgut Road, the LB Scott Road, Welkerlegen Road in Cahill, Beacon Hill Road and Ryan Road, because these are known as flood areas. At the moment, we are also identifying if it is necessary to activate the EOC, but this is something that is still being looked into because we want to wait until we get the next update to take certain decisions that will have an effect on the island, seeing that we are already also busy with COVID-19. So at the moment, we're busy just trying to put everything in place for the pending weather. And from the Office of Disaster Management, we would like to ask everybody to have the necessary preparations in place. If you're not feeling safe at home, to either go to a friend or family member for your own safety. And as you know, we are still busy with preparations for the shelters, and that is still ongoing. So we would like to ask everybody of the public to assist in every way they can and to stay safe, and if not necessary, during the hours that we expect the weather to stay off the road as much as possible. As we go along today, we will keep, as Mr. Isaac said, updating the public with information via DCOM's webpage, via the app that we have. We will try to put as much information out there so that everybody knows what's going on and what has been decided pertaining to if it's necessary to shut down stores, shops. All of that information we will keep pushing out as the day goes along.
Meanwhile, meteorologist at the St. Martin Met Office, Desiree Connor, has issued several tips in her public awareness campaign for the hurricane season 2020. The forecaster is reminding the community not to become complacent and to be prepared.
Well, we would like everyone to be aware, first of all, that we are still in the hurricane season, which starts on the 1st of June and lasts through the 30th of November. So it's actually 6 months of the year we are in this hurricane season. And most people get, a bit complacent. They say, oh, we won't get affected and we want this and we want that. But you never know when that one storm will be that one storm that would affect us. Like in the 2017 year, where we had Irma, that was a major effect, and then Maria quickly after. So you don't know when that one will be the one. So we always preach to be prepared throughout the entire season. Like right now, we have a storm basically here tomorrow. So if you weren't prepared before, a lot of people would want to be going to rush to do this and do that. And we always want to tell everyone to always be prepared. Don't wait until it's at your doorstep to become, prepared. And what preparedness means is basically having your emergency kit in place, making sure you have enough non-perishable foods, enough water for the entire family, your medication, check on your insurance policies, both for life and property, and also to check your surroundings in case you have trees that are near the house, you cut them down, and make sure you have reinforced doors and windows if possible, or shutters or some kind of plywood in case of a hurricane. That is not the factor for right now, but you still do need to check on it in case, there is something else brewing as of next week. We don't want to wait until next week to look for those things. So we always want to be sure that we have certain things in place for any, last minute pop-ups or for anything that is approaching us here in St. Martin. Well, also to have your batteries and your battery-powered radios and flashlights. That would be in extreme conditions where we run out of power, and we still do need to keep in touch with the official source for information, especially if we can't get on the internet, we can't check on Facebook or the website. We can always listen to the government radio station that always gives frequent updates, as well as the various other radio stations. So always look for the credible sources for your information. Listen to the authorities. If they give out warnings and watches and advisories, do follow the protocol that is being said, and do not say that, it won't affect us, and don't say that, we'll be just okay, because sometimes we don't always just be okay. So it's better to be prepared for the worst than to have the worst affect us and then say, but nobody told me, whereas we did. And this is why it is advised to follow the credible sources. Not to say that other sources may not have the right information, but when they start to give opinions, it kind of distorts what is fact from what is not. So it is always advised to follow the directives of the Met Office and those who are sharing the information from the Met Office, which is the media sources. And that would keep some of the confusion at bay as to what is actually expected, what is coming, and what we here in St. Martin, can expect with the effects. Because most times people share information that they get from the broader sources, such as the National Hurricane Center and so forth, that is just looking at the tropics and the broad spectrum, but the Met Office breaks it down to the local effects. So we look at what is presented in the broad spectrum, and then we narrow it down. So when people just share information, it's okay, because that's what social media is for. But you have to be careful that you don't get lost in, the translation of what is said and what is meant to be said.
And still to come, Prime Minister of St. Martin holds a meeting with her counterparts on French St. Martin. We'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue now with more news, in a series of meetings held on Friday, July the 24th, by technical staff, and on Monday, July the 27th, with the Council of Ministers and its French counterparts, current developments on COVID-19 were discussed. as well as the way forward. During the first meeting on Monday with Prime Minister Sylvia Jacobs and Madame la Préfète Sylvie Fauchère, it was agreed by both parties that after further evaluation during this current week, that follow-up discussions would take place. Préfète Fauchère expressed that she is contemplating re-implementing internal controls to better control the spread of the virus. Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvia Jacobs, who has held several meetings with her counterparts on French St. Martin regarding the proposed lockdown on the northern side. In their discussions, the Prime Minister said that the Préfet shared her concerns about the increase in COVID-19 cases on Dutch St. Martin. The Prime Minister expounds further.
Our meetings actually were three parts. The technical team went to the French side and met with them on Friday. We received the report on that the same day, and actually it had been that the collectivité had been trying to schedule a meeting with us for some time. Based on the meeting request, the technical meeting was held first, and I was told that the Préfet actually joined that meeting. Then on Monday morning, after that I corresponded via email with her. She responded, and we had a telephone meeting at 8:30 yesterday morning, whereby she shared her concerns with the rising numbers on the Dutch side with the COVID-19. We have been carrying out lots of testing, and they had not restarted their testing as yet, so she mentioned that they were going to start some community testing. As you know, health falls under the ARS, which is a state responsibility, and therefore the ARS of Guadeloupe is the one in charge. And so basically in connection with that, the prefect is the responsible person. As such, we had discussions as to what St. Martin is doing, St. Martin, and so I explained to her basically what we've been doing, that it was basically due to complacency, and in fact that we've had mask usage as part and social distancing as part of our protocols since we were in lockdown, which is in stark contrast to what was happening on the French side. That still being the case, there has been a lot of discussion and understanding in terms of if we can synchronize our protocols, that there would be a limit to any measures being taken that would, come across as controls as such. So we're still looking at synchronizing some of our measures, and tomorrow morning we will have a follow-up discussion as it relates to that. We were able to also clarify that we only had at the time one person in the medical center, but now I've learned this morning that it's two in the medical pavilion, that one was awaiting the result of a COVID test, and there was also one from the French side, but that person will be going home, so is properly recovering. And so what is, even though the numbers have risen, Stephen, what is assuring is that the cases are not being reported as severe, and that our medical facilities have been managing well, as well as the persons who are recovering at home are managing their symptoms at home pretty well thus far. So yesterday we only had one new case, so that is a very good sign that the population is adhering more to the measures, and that we can maintain that moving forward and hopefully nip this one in the bud. The French side will start doing their testing in the community this week, they mentioned, and I will hear some more about that when Madame la Préfète and I meet, whether by phone or in person, tomorrow. Later in the morning, we met with the collectivité, that President Daniel Gibbs, his Vice President Valerie Damasceau, and I believe two others. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. VP Patrick, and one of them with a French name that I'm not very good at pronouncing. Caillot, I believe. And we had a very good and frank discussion. President Gibbs also expressed his concern about the rising cases, and he was the one that talked about the reopening of our borders to the U.S. in August. And we discussed how it's being managed in Aruba. We discussed how it's been managed in St. Bart, and that our protocols will be similarly strict. And so therefore we don't expect that the visitors will pose such a health risk, as we are doing everything to mitigate that and isolate as soon as they're detected.
And of course, the discussions have been held at a time that you're now looking forward to reopening to U.S. citizens coming back to St. Martin as per August 1st, Prime Minister. Are you sensing that the French side, because the prefect is basically saying, look, if you reopen, she will definitely shut the borders again.
Well, that was said even before. That was said in a previous statement when we first announced that we were opening 1st of July. So I'm not surprised that she would say that. But they have closed out St. Mark's from their bubble as well for the same reason and requesting double testing. So testing prior to leaving, so you have a negative test prior to leaving St. Mark's if you visited the United States within the last 14 days, and they have to have a secondary test once arriving on St. Martin.
And leader of the MJP party, Councilman Louis Mussington, on Tuesday, July the 28th, stated emphatically that he is against any form of border closure between the two sides of the island. Speaking to PGD2's newsroom, he made a statement following the announcement of Prefect Sylvie Faucher that she will close the border if the Princess Juliana International Airport, and more specifically, the Dutch side, were to open to receiving travelers from the United States as per August 1st, 2020.
Let me make it clear, Stephen, that any attempt to disregard the cultural heritage or the unity of our people, and then also could add to that, the oneness of our island, St. Martin, has to be condemned. Do not enjoy my support. No one coming out of France who would sit in the office and make these kind of arbitrary decisions with such a high-handed manner, arrogant manner, cannot be and should not be tolerated. I understand that there was a meeting between the collectivity, the president and his vice president, and also with the prefecture to discuss a common understanding. And that's where she made a comment on that taking. I believe that at this stage there should be meetings to iron out the differences, the different approach, and to make sure that we look at a measure that will be satisfactory for both partners in this case. It cannot be a one-sided or a unilateral approach unless you want to prove that you can flex your muscles and let the whole world know that you are the boss on the northern side of the island. Things will not go down well if that is the approach. I think that at this critical hour, when we understand how, from an economic perspective, how critical it is to begin the reopening phase of the Juliana Airport, thousands of people in the south and also on the northern side do need that airport in operation for economic survival. So we cannot run away from that fact. And it will have social implications in the months to come if the immediate solutions are not taken. So I support what is envisaged on the southern side, and I'm saying that in order to be useful, in order to show that spirit of cooperation, what the prefect should be doing is looking at how they can cooperate with the authorities in the south to make sure that there are severe, strong, forceful sanitary measures at the airport, safe control to make sure that passengers entering the island are coming in and they will not jeopardize the safety of our people. That to me would serve a greater purpose rather than sit in the office with this high-handed approach and want the whole world to know that you are the boss.
And in this story from the police blotter, the personnel of the detective department are currently investigating a situation where shots were fired at a garbage truck in the area of Dutch Quarter on Sunday afternoon around 1 p.m. When the patrol arrived at the scene, they were informed that a driver in a gray car shot at the garbage truck while passing on the road leading to Union Farm. The reasons for the shooting is still unclear to the investigators. The forensic department is collecting evidence in this incident. They are asking that if you or anyone you know may have information as to what took place, please do not hesitate to contact the Police Detective Department at 1-721-542-2222 or the anonymous tip line on 9300 free of charge. You can also visit the website at www.policesxm.sx to report crime anonymous via the tip contact form, or you can leave a private message via their Facebook page, which is Police Force of St. Martin - Corps Politie St. Martin, if you know or suspect something. Now, turning to our weather forecast for July the 28th, 2020. A drier air mass ahead of potential tropical cyclone 9 has moved into the local area. This will help to restrict precipitation today and tonight. On Wednesday, potential tropical cyclone 9 will begin affecting the local region. This will bring tropical storm conditions to our shores. Therefore, expect heavy showers, numerous thunderstorms, and storm-forced winds. Persons should seek shelter and avoid low-lying areas due to potential life-threatening flooding. Moderate marine conditions are expected today, and by tonight, conditions are expected to steadily deteriorate and advisories and/or warnings will be issued. Seas are expected to peak upward of 15 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise extreme caution to guard against loss of life and damage to property. So the outlook through Thursday midday, cloudy to overcast with storm-forced winds, heavy showers, and numerous thunderstorms. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for you this evening, TLM Group is reinstating its coronavirus protocols in light of a new surge in the number of COVID-19 cases reported on St. Martin within the past week. While the company has continued to put strict practices in place for both employees and members of the public entering all TLM Group locations since reopening to the public in April, the latest reports on positive cases has management and staff on additional alert. We do not want to have the return to a situation where we are forced to turn away paying customers and visitors away as occurred during the early days of this pandemic, said TLM Group CEO Mr. Kendall Dupersoy over the weekend. Mr. Dupersoy is urging the customers to play their part by ensuring they continue to practice social distancing, washing their hands often with soap and water, and make a point of wearing masks whenever they enter a TLM Group building or any other public place. He said the company will play its own part by ensuring that areas used by the public are continually disinfected and that only a limited number of persons will be allowed into TLM Group public spaces at any one time. In the event these cases continue to climb, people will once again be self-isolating, working from home, and making more use of their devices in the home rather than in the office. It is therefore important for us to ensure our networks are working optimally and can handle any increased capacity without further issue, assured Mr. Dupersoy. Customers who want to report a service outage or customers without service questions can call the TLM Group Help Desk, which is open daily from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Customers can contact the Help Desk via 611 or 548-HELP or 548-4357, 546-0100, via WhatsApp 528-0100 for outage reports. And with that, viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.